Hi, I'm Gabe Close. I am the Director of Youth and Young Adult Ministries here at First Baptist, and just want to take a moment to say to our youth and young adults that we miss you, and sorry that we haven't been able to gather for Bible study and here at church. I want you to know that I miss leading Bible study with you, hearing what's going on in your lives. Certainly miss, playing games and just, seeing you all here at the church. Please know your church family misses you as well. And I also want to say to you that I've heard from a number of you about things that have been canceled related to school, also jobs that have been either cut short or you can't go in anymore. And some of you are moving to online learning with school, and there are a lot of changes and a lot of things you were looking forward to that have been canceled or cut short. And I want to say to you that I am sorry about that. I am sorry for that. And I know that is very, very tough. And know that we as a church staff and your church family are praying for you. But also know that I am sorry to hear that some of those changes are being made. And I want to offer you just a couple of quick things in this challenging time that I hope will give you some hope. And so we're going to take a look real quick at a passage out of Mark chapter 4. It is verse 35. And in verse 35 through 41, verse 35 says, "That day when evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, 'Let us go over to the other side.' Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, 'Teacher, don't you care if we drown?' He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, 'Quiet, be still.' Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, 'Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?' They were terrified and asked each other, 'Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him.'" In this chapter, in this passage from chapter 4, the disciples are afraid. Now keep in mind, several of the disciples were fishermen. It's not like this was their first time out on a boat, right? They had never been in a boat before, never encountered a storm on the water. Maybe we could understand this, right? But surely they had, okay? So this must have been a pretty serious storm if they were this afraid and this scared. And through the whole thing, Jesus is sleeping in the boat, right? Jesus is taking a nap. He is totally at peace and comfortable with everything that's going on. The disciples, on the other hand, are scared out of their minds. And I want to say to you, we're in many ways in a scary time, and I want you to know it's okay to admit that this is scary. Admit that some of these changes and some of the news is scary, but also hope that while you're obeying precautions, that you are taking the recommendation of health officials seriously and doing what you need to do to stay safe and keep your family and friends safe. I hope that while you're doing that, you are also not letting the fear and anxiety control you. I think the message of this passage to us is I don't read it to criticize our faith or put down anyone's faith, but to say to you, we have a God in Jesus Christ who calms storms and who is with us in the middle of the storm. And we don't always know exactly when the storm's going to come. This storm came up suddenly on the disciples in the passage. It feels like this COVID-19 virus and everything that has come with it has come about pretty suddenly, but know that even though we don't know when the storm is going to start, or many times when it's going to end, that you have a God that calms storms and is with you every step of the way. And I hope that you remember that if you're getting a little fearful and anxious, that God is with you. And take a moment, and it's okay to ask friends and family and God for help. Also want to say to you that there are still things we can do. A lot of the news talks about all the stuff we can't go here anymore, we can't gather with these people anymore, we can't be in a group over this many. And our pastor sent out an email last week that talked about some things we can still do. And I want to encourage you to maybe take some time to invest in some people, or and do some of those things you still can do. We as a society aren't very good at Sabbath. We kind of stink at resting. And so take some time and rest, or spend time with family members you are sharing home with, but you don't talk to them as much as you should. Maybe you can take some time, even though you can't be with some friends and be in groups of people, take some time and call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Or take a little time to read that scripture passage or those verses you've been meaning to get to. And go outside. You can still go outside. You can still watch that Netflix show that you love. So there are a lot of things you can do, and take courage in that. And lastly, I want to say to you, I hope when given the chance you will help someone else. We have talked a lot in youth and young adult Bible study about missions and about helping others. And I hope that in this time, if you can offer an encouraging word, whether it be through texting or social media or calling somebody, maybe you're at the grocery store and you can take 3 things, but other people need them, so you only take 1. Or maybe you have some extra supplies and you've got a friend who needs something at their home. I hope you will take some time and just think about what are some ways you can help others. And of course, we always have the blessings box here at church if you do have extra supplies and don't know what to do with it. And finally, as we close, I want to say I read one commentator talking about this passage, saying that fear and worry is often the enemy of peace. And I hope that while you are cautious and concerned, you do not let yourself be overtaken by worry. And I pray above all else that God will bring you peace, and I wish you peace until we can see each other again.